Raise your hand if asking people for help literally makes you feel like you clench, okay? Like you go into full wedgie mode. You're clenching, you're nauseous, you're sweating, you're nervous. You're like, ask for help. Like, first of all, ew. Second of all, no. Third of all, how? Fourth of all, what if? And da da da, right? So we struggle to ask for help. And on top of it, we struggle to receive, to allow help.
Hey, I'm Brooke Jean, therapist, recovering perfectionist, and struggling working mom on a mission to normalize normal. If you're an overwhelmed, high achieving, and secretly anxious mama, struggling to balance it all and on the brink of burnout, you are in the right place. Here is where we talk about hard things like balancing work and family life, mental health, and how to navigate life-altering transitions. Nothing is too taboo here. In my conversations, I'll teach you how to let go of who you think you're supposed to be in order to create the life you've always wanted. Get ready to embrace your messy, shed the shoulds, and find freedom through a life unperfected. This is the Unperfected Pod.
Welcome back to the Unperfected Pod, where we normalize normal and find freedom. That's right, freedom in a life unperfected. What is up, you guys? My name's Brooke Jean. I'm your host, and I am so glad and grateful that you are here. I am coming at you this morning. It is Tuesday morning. This summertime means I am on Tuesdays with Chloe, and I am in my favorite cozy corner in the house. I am still in my jammies. I do not have a bra on. I'm sitting on my meditation pillow with the sun beaming on me without makeup, without hair, because this is how I roll. I take Tuesdays off in the summer so I can spend quality time with my girl. And we're just a hot mess express over here. And y'all know that I like to keep it real and show all parts. So if you want to see this hot mess express, follow the show on YouTube. And yeah, this is what it is. Hi, good morning. How are you? Everything's fine. Anyways, today I want to talk about something that's been coming up a lot in my sessions with clients. And y'all know that I work with women, mostly moms, mostly mom bosses. So high achieving, ease seeking women that are doing the damn thing. They're managing a lot. They're super high performing. They probably look like they have it all together, but on the inside, they might have some anxiety or fears or imposter syndrome or perfectionism that's crippling them, right? And so I'm always on the journey of unpacking with women how we got to this place of perfectionism and doing it all and trying to be perfect. And also, how do we weave our way out of that? And so one of the things that I teach and talk about is boundaries. Hello, I'm a therapist. I'm a coach. Of course, we're going to talk about boundaries. And the specific boundary that I love to talk to women about is asking for help. Asking for help. We have got to learn how to ask for help. Raise your hand if asking people for help literally makes you feel like you clench, okay? Like you go into full wedgie mode. You're clenching, you're nauseous, you're sweating, you're nervous. You're like, ask for help. Like, first of all, ew. Second of all, no. Third of all, how? Fourth of all, what if? And da da da, right? So we struggle to ask for help. And on top of it, we struggle to receive, to allow help. And so the one part of this, because I could create a whole series, maybe I even will, around asking for help and the things that get in our way and the things that we can do about it. But today I want to particularly pick on this old chestnut that keeps coming up, which is I don't want to ask for help because it's an inconvenience to others. I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to be a burden. Bum, bum, bum. Okay, how many of you can relate to this? Not wanting to be a burden, not wanting things to be an inconvenience to others, not wanting to put things on others. You see, as girls, we were raised and taught and conditioned to tend to everybody's needs in the room and to put our needs last. So we are very keen and hyper aware of other people's feelings, their state, their needs, and what they need to be okay. And so for us to ask somebody to do something that puts responsibility on them or gives them something to do, that goes against the grain. That goes against what we were taught. We don't want to inconvenience. Now, we might literally be hanging on by a freaking thread over here. We might actually be hitting burnout. And yet, we don't want to inconvenience our partners by asking them to do simple things like take our kids to school or wash out the bottles at night or do the laundry on Sunday or take the kids to gymnastics on Wednesday or I don't know, take them on vacation so I can have the mother effing house to myself for once. Good. So, my loves, I want to address this head on. First of all, let's normalize it. Let's normalize it. Many of us have had that experience of we are hesitant to ask for help because we do not want to burden others. We do not want to place a responsibility that we believe is ours, that we believe we should be handling and that we should be handling it well onto someone else. And so let me remind you that asking your partner to help you parent your children is not a burden to him or her and is not an inconvenience. Asking your partner to parent your children with you, to share the responsibility of the home, of the children, of their lives, of their extracurriculars, of all the things that keep these wheels in motion is not a burden and it is not an inconvenience. So many of you out there are doing both. You're working full time and managing the mother load and managing the mental load. And then your husband thinks that he deserves an award because he says, babe, what can I take off your plate? Listen, bitch, if I have to know on the ready where we're at and who's on first base, second base, third base, home base, who's on shortstop, such that I'm able to tell you exactly in this moment what needs to be done, then what do I actually need you for, boo-boobs? That means I'm managing everything and you're executing. And it's a lot easier, my love, to be the executor than it is the manager. There's a reason why the manager makes more money than the team member. So if I'm managing, which means I'm aware of when the kids need to go to the dentist and the doctor and sign up for school and dance and what's going on in their relationship with their friend in the neighborhood and when is the next play date and when is the next birthday party and have we got the present for the birthday party. If I have to keep all that and what's going on with food and what are we eating and what is the meal plan and when are the toilets getting cleaned and when is the sprinklers getting turned on, if I have to manage all of that while working full time, and you just want to take something off my plate? No, 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 no. I love you. A for effort, C minus for actual deliverables. Okay. So me asking you, my partner, to step up and share the responsibility with me in the life that we're creating together, honey. We decided that we're having these children. We decided to get this home. We decided to be in relationship with one another. So we are going to share this responsibility. And it is not a burden and it is not an inconvenience. It's just life. And is it fun all the time? Hell to the no. But it always falls on mom. And so we have to, and first I do want to say, let me grab a sip of my coffee because I just got real fired up right out of the gates. I do want to take a moment to acknowledge that our partners have come a long way. Okay, so like my husband, for example, is a very involved dad. I love my dad, but my husband does way more with my kids than my dad ever did with us. You know, I grew up and it was more traditional. Dad worked, mom stayed home with the kids. And Now that both me and my husband work, we both, like, my husband does a ton of the stuff that I do. However, I'm still the manager and he is still the team member after 20 years of training him. Okay. So I want to acknowledge that our partners have come a long way, but that doesn't mean we cannot still ask for help and expect that they share the mental load and that they share the load of responsibilities. Okay. The other thing that I want to say is that not all the time, but some of the time, maybe even most of the time, if you have a partner that's not a POS, they actually want to be helpful. They really do want to help. They just need us to spell it out for them. And listen, ladies, this is something that I have been trying to fix in society for literal 21 years. I have been parenting with my husband for 21 years. Camden is 21 now. And like, they, newsflash, cannot read our minds. They also cannot connect the dots, even though they're 1 millimeter away from each other. You do, in fact, have to spell things out for them. I'm not sure why. Bless their hearts and souls, but something is missing in their brains. They can't do it. They will never, like, presume that you need help. They will never intuitively sense what's not being said. They will not jump in and just know that I should help here. I don't know what's wrong with them that they don't, because us as women, you better believe we can sense what's not being said. We know this mother needs help cleaning up the kitchen and we jump in and help and clean up the kitchen. Or we know this mother has a lot on her plate, so I'm going to see if I can take her kids to the park for a little bit. Or we know that our kid is having a bad day, so we get in front of that and we give them extra snuggles and compliments, right? Our husbands, not all, but damn if it ain't a lot of them based on my lived experience, they don't do that well. They don't know how to do that. So they are getting better. I will give them that. They usually do want to be helpful, but they need us to spell it out for them. Therefore, we have to get more comfortable asking for help and communicating what needs to be done without all this nonsense of like guilt that we're asking and feeling bad that we're asking and feeling like we're a burden. Listen, honey, it's already a burden to me that I have to spell it out for you. It's already a burden to me that I have to explain how point A and point B connect here. It's already annoying to me that you can't just read my mind and intuitively know what I need and go ahead and take those steps. That's annoying to me and a burden. But here we are. So now I'm leaning into radical acceptance of that. Now I'm leaning into radical acceptance of like, he's not going to get it unless I communicate. And instead of being in resistance to that, which creates conflict and fights, instead, why don't I learn to communicate better, try to focus on the good that he does do, and continue to encourage him to help me in other ways and with other things? And also not wait until I'm completely overwhelmed and resentful to then communicate to him, because that doesn't typically go well. I give that method that I used many times 0 stars. Don't try that one. So we're in a place of radical acceptance that we need to communicate what we need to our partners or to the people that are helping us raise these humans. And we need to remove this idea that it's a burden to ask our partners to participate, maybe even manage a piece of our children's lives. Now, I highly recommend the book, Fair Play, and the card deck. It's like a game. There's also, I think, a Netflix documentary they made out of that. That's a great resource that talks about sharing the mental load and gives you a real activity that you can do with your partners to begin to share the load, where you can each decide like what part of the family are you each going to manage and then what is entailed in that. And so your partner can now manage the food for the week, not just execute. Not just say, hey, babe, what can I get at the grocery store? And then you have to give him a list. And then he calls you 14 times from the store because he can't figure out where the cilantro is and what's different between cilantro and parsley. Listen, by the time that I walk you through finding cilantro, I literally could have grown my own damn crops. and harvested those SOBs and put them in my salsa. Okay. So, no, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about you're going to go from the idea that the family needs to eat to the formulation of the plan to the execution of the plan all the way down. You're going to own that project. Like you are the project manager. Here's another side note. Why can they, typically men, project manage things at work? Can't they? Like, how many of your partners are legit project managers? Like, that's their damn job title. But they can't project manage soccer for the kids or food for the family or school homework. Like, isn't that a transferable skill? Is my pregunta. Is that not a transferable skill? I guess not. Anyways, I digress. So what are we doing? We're leaning into radical acceptance. We are communicating what we need without the guilt of feeling like it's a burden. We are trying to divide the responsibilities and invite our partners in to manage a thing or two. But for you, babe, and the work that you're going to do inside and internally so that you don't bump up against this feeling of it's an inconvenience to ask for help, is you're going to start to build your awareness around that. And you're going to get curious about what belief you have that's driving that behavior. So when you are feeling resentful, that is such a beautiful place to start. Our resentment is such a clue that we need a boundary. We need to ask for help. We're not feeling our feelings. Something up. When we're in resentment, babe, something up. So when you're feeling resentful, pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, what am I needing that I'm not asking? You say, well, I'm wishing that my partner would clean up after dinner or do homework with the kids. Okay, what is getting in my way of asking him to do that or her to do that? And I want you to just be open to what bubbles up. Because here's where you're going to get some juicy information. Here's where the work sets in of like, oh my God, well, I'm telling myself it's a burden, or I'm telling myself like it's not even worth the conflict, or he does deserve to rest and he's finally resting on the couch or whatever. And you're going to get curious about that. And you're going to go, wow, interesting. I wonder why I'm telling myself that. Like, is it true that it's a burden? Is it true that it's going to create conflict? Is it true that it's just better that I do it? Like, is that really yielding me the result that I want in terms of my mental sanity? Because that's another little slippery slope that I see women fall into is like, sure, I could ask for help, but then my partner does it in a shitty way. And it is, again, a solid C performance. Okay, ladies, 80% is done. If they do it 80% of the way, we consider that 100%. They're not going to do it the same way you did it, and that is okay. If we want the help, we have to let go of the control that it's going to be done exactly as we like it. Now, if there's certain things that you really value, like, honey, I would really appreciate if you would help me make sure our daughter brushes her teeth. I think that's an important life skill and hygiene for her. So you skipping that every day in the 80% is really not landing well on me, okay? Or giving her candy before bed. Or, if there's things that you're like, oh God, ouch, that's really rubbing up against a value. But if it's just like the outfit they chose for the day, or I don't know, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like, they're not going to do it like you did. They're not going to be fully prepared. The hair is not always going to be brushed. The uniform is not always going to be on. They might be 2 minutes late. It's not going to be as detailed, but if it's 80% of the way there and it doesn't rub up against your core values, consider it done and then celebrate the hell out of that. We cannot offload things off of our plates as moms or leaders and expect it to be done the way that we're going to do it. That is a recipe for disappointment and disaster, and you're going to be a shitty partner and leader when you're always disappointed because people are not you. It's just reality. Again, I recommend radical acceptance here. It's not going to be done 100%. 80% is done. So for those of you that are like, I could just do it myself, I hear you. I hear you. I feel that at least one time a day. The grocery shopping cilantro example is the perfect example. It's easier if I just get it than it is coaching you through the process of getting it. However, if we don't allow them to do it and we don't keep teaching them or just setting the expectation and allowing it to be 80%, then it's never going to get any better, right? It's never going to get any better. So I want you to start to slow the whole process down. I want you to follow your resentment, and I want you to get curious about what you're telling yourself that's preventing you from asking for help, for making the request. And I want you to uproot whatever beliefs are under there. And I want you to put them on the table and I want you to examine them. Is this belief true? Is this still relevant in today's society now that both of us are working? Is this really relevant and true based on what I know my husband or my partner to be? Like, I know my partner actually wants to be helpful. He does want to help me. Listen, it's better for everybody's sanity if mom is not just fuming in resentment and overwhelm and anxiety, right? So we know that our partners don't want us in that because it affects them too, right? So get curious about your beliefs, put them on the table and examine them, and then upgrade it. Instead of it's just better if I do it, maybe your new belief is 80% is done. So every time you go to ask for help and you bump up against the resistance of I can do it better, then you say to yourself, but 80% is done, right?
Good morning, sweetie. Good morning. Mommy's doing podcast. Want to say hi? Oh, my sweetie. Good morning, beautiful.
Okay. So I am going to wrap up because my sweet girl just woke up and this is one of our favorite times to snuggle in the morning. But it's okay to ask for help. It is safe and okay to ask for help. It is not a burden. It's not an inconvenience. Let's dig at the root of why you believe that to be true and let's reprogram your beliefs around that. You reprogram your belief by noticing when you're in the old belief, taking a deep breath to disrupt that neural pathway, and then stating your new belief, and then taking action from that place over and over and over again with consistency. That's how we change. That's how we uproot our beliefs. Then those beliefs change how we think, which affects how we feel, which influences our behavior.
Mommy,
Yes.
um,
What do you want to say as we leave to the good people?
so I feel like, if, if you say it loud, it goes up to the red, and if you say it quiet, it goes down to the green.
Oh, that's right. And mommy's pretty loud, so it's kind of always in the red, huh?
But no, not always. Sometimes it goes down to the green.
All right. We are going to go have a Tuesday with mommy, right, sweetie? A Tuesday with mommy. I am sending you all so much love today and always. Take care of yourselves and there for each other. If you haven't already, make sure that you grab. I actually have 2 freebies now. I have the immediate calm down kit, which is a guide to help you with your anxiety. And I'm just created a get unstuck freebie. So if you are one of those perfectionist moms who is sitting and spinning on the hamster wheel, reworking things, editing things, redoing things, and you feel just frozen and stuck, this is a therapeutic guide. It's 5 therapeutic steps to help you get unstuck. Make sure that you snag that. That will all be linked in the show notes. And if you're also not part of my Mommy's Mental Health Matters private Facebook group, come visit me there. Love you all so much. We're going to go have a special day, the 2 of us, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Bye for now. Hey, Mama, if you made it to the end of this episode, I just want to virtually high five you because you've said yes to the opportunity of taking better care of yourself. And that is so meaningful and so amazing. You have no idea the ripple of goodness that's to come. If you've been enjoying the show, if you've been finding it helpful, if you've laughed a little or learned a new technique, will you do me a favor? Will you make sure that you're following the show, that you've given us a 5-star rating and left a review? That will absolutely help us get this podcast into more heads and hearts of as many mamas as possible, because when we heal the mother, we heal the world. Also, if there's a specific episode that you've loved, will you make sure to share it with a friend? Just send them the link or share it on social media, and make sure you tag me at Brooke Jean Unperfected, because I absolutely love seeing that this is actually giving you the impact that you so desire and deserve. Thank you so much, mamas. Make sure you're taking care of yourselves and therefore each other.